Welcome to the Kumihimo YouTube channel. In this video, I'd like to show you how to make a very simple yet highly effective ending using just a toggle clasp. And before I start, I just want to say a little bit about endings. I'm probably asked about endings more than anything else, which prompted me to write this book, which is called Kumihimo Endings. It's a very concise book, and I've absolutely packed it full of everything you need to know about endings. So the ending I'm going to show you in a moment is one of the ones in this book. So I'm just giving you a taste of that. And the book is divided into chapters, all the different sorts of endings, such as glued endings, wire endings, button fastenings, crimp endings, loop fastenings and tassels. And there's also a section on key techniques. So as you work your way through, the way I've been able to keep this book very concise is by using highlighting of certain key techniques in blue, and then that ties up with the blue page edge and the key technique section. And each chapter is also color coded, so you can really navigate your way through this easily. So I'm going to take you to page, there we go. This is the ending I'm going to show you. And the instructions for that's in the tassel chapter, and the instructions are here. This is the knot and tassel ending on page 68 and 69. And this book is available from Amazon. It's also available from my website, from my Kumihimo.com website. So that's Kumihimo Endings, the finishing touch for every braid. So let's take a look now at the actual ending. As I say, so simple. And it's perfect for something like an 8-chord round braid. And all you need is a toggle and the braid you're working on. So first of all, let's have a look at the toggle. This is what I mean by a toggle clasp. There are so many different sorts, and all you need is one where the loops, where you can get 4 of your chords through that loop. Now, what you need to think about with this sort of ending is we're going to fold our chords in half. So if you are doing an 8-chord braid, you will actually only need 4 chords, but they need to be twice the length that you would normally have. So look carefully at the pattern you're using and think that one through. You're going to use half as many chords, but twice the length. So I've just got some chords here. I'm using just regular Eslon 0.5 millimeters, text 210, sometimes also known as number 18. So I've got 4 chords here. I'm just using short chords for demonstration purposes, obviously. And I gathered them all together, and I'm going to start with the toggle end. And it is important that you start with the toggle end for this, because you need more space for the toggle to be able to operate. So all I do is pass all my chords through there, my 4 chords, and then I center the toggle on my chords like that. So then I'm going to hold that tight, so I make sure I stay centered. There we go. So I've got that gripped firmly, and I'm going to get my disc and just hold that in the middle like that. So I know that's the middle of my chords. Now I'm just moving my thumb down to there to hold them tight, and I'm going to pop the chords in the normal slots, by which I mean the 2 chords in the top and bottom on either side of the dots, and also at the sides. So I'm just doing half of them there. Don't worry, that's moved up because I kept my thumb there. Now what I'm going to do is identify where those chords are. So this chord I'm pulling now I can see is this one. So I'm going to position it diagonally across the disc like that. Now, as you pop it into the slot, make sure you don't pull so hard that you're pulling the chord right the way through. This one I can see is that chord there. So again, you see how I'm using my thumb just to make sure I don't pull it all the way through. And I do the same thing here. Remember, I'm going diagonally opposite. So that's that chord there. There we go. And this is what we call a simple start. So now I'm just going to braid in the normal fashion. But at the beginning, I need to be terribly careful that I don't pull the cords too much, so that I pull them through the opposite slot and make my cords uneven. And you do need to sort of grip onto this part of it. So here I'm using a larger disc. You might find a smaller disc easier. It really depends on the size of your hands. But you're probably going to need to just grip onto that toggle while you do the first few moves. And I just do my normal moves, top right down, bottom left up, and a quarter turn. And again, for the first few moves, I keep a grip on that toggle, just to make sure I don't pull everything through. Don't worry if you get a little bit of crossing over at this point. It will all sort itself out. And you just do your top right down, bottom left up. Or the other way around, you might like to start with the bottom, that's up to you. And once you've done a few, you'll find that the cords are nice and firmly fixed around that toggle, and they sort of pull together to make a neat start. And that is your simple start. So once you've done 8 to 10 moves, you can carry on with the pattern in whatever way you generally would. So that is your starting point. Now I'm going to bring in another disc, and on this one I've got a little braid already. So let's just pretend that is the length of my bracelet. And so now I take the loop, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to thread this loop through the little ring onto half of my cords. I'm going to do them one by one and return the cord to the slot after I have put it through to keep the tension. So that's the first one. I'm going to pop it back, and now I'm going to take the next cord and just thread it through, making sure I'm going in the same direction. Pop it back in its slot like that. And now here I need to bring it a little bit closer to the point of braiding. So with this one, I can pop it through. You might find having your cords stiffened with glue or nail varnish is helpful at this point. And then I'm just going to get my last one and pop it through and return the cord to its slot. And now just tighten everything up and let that go right the way down and dangle down. So now that ring is right in the middle of my braid. So all I need to do is continue braiding to trap it in the braid. So I'm going to continue braiding for, there's no set amount, I would say probably about 1/2 centimetre, 1/4 of an inch, something like that. It doesn't matter which way you turn your disc. You may like to turn clockwise or anti-clockwise, or as I show in other videos, you can actually go to and fro. It really comes to the same thing when you've just got 8 cords like this and you're doing round braid. So I'm just going to continue for a little bit longer, and my aim here is to just create enough braid so that I can tie it in a knot, and so that that loop is really firmly embedded into the braid. So I think a little bit more than that. If you don't have enough, you might just find it unravels a bit too fast as you're trying to work with it. So if you're not sure, do more rather than less, I would say. I'm just continuing a little bit more, I think. And you will find that this is such a useful way to start and finish a braid, because you don't need to worry about the width of the braid and the size of end cap that you need or anything like that. A lot of people don't like working with glue. You don't have to do that. So I think I've got enough there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to grip that braid from underneath firmly, pinch it together, remove the cords from the disc, all the time keeping my fingers pinched around the braid. And now I'm going to tie an overhand knot and push it towards, as I tighten it, I'm going to push it towards the loop of the toggle clasp. So an overhand knot is round and through. A bit tangled up there. There we go. And now, as I tighten it, I'm going to push it towards the clasp like that, and then tighten it really tightly. And then I'm going to tighten each cord individually to get a really neat knot, because often you can just have a couple of cords a bit looser than the others. You want the neatest knot you can. If you don't like your first knot, just undo it and have another go. Right, there we go. So I'm happy with that knot. Now you can finish this off as a tassel in any way you like to. You may wish to just thread on lots of beads of all different sorts, that's up to you. But what I rather like to do is this method, where you take the cords in twos and then decide how long you want your tassel and tie again an overhand knot first of all, like that. And then find a selection of beads. 3 looks nice. You can do what you want. You can put on some larger feature beads if you like, or you can put on smaller beads. So I'm just going to pick up a couple, and what you do is you thread them onto both cords. So that can be a little bit fiddly, but if you do one at a time, one of the 2 cords and then the second one, generally works. And then I'm just going to put 3 on here. It can look quite nice if perhaps you put a bigger one in the middle, that's up to you. Now separate those cords and push the beads down to that first knot, like that. And then you're going to tie a double knot. So this is where your cords open. Tie a double knot, that's 1, that's 2. And now what you can do is just trim that nice and close. And you can pop a little bit of, because you've trimmed it very close, you do need a little blob of glue or clear nail varnish, something like that, just to seal the knot. What you could also try doing is with a naked flame or with a cord or thread burner like this, you can just, let's get this working, you can just touch the ends a little bit just to melt those ends like that, and it just makes a slightly neater knot really. If you're going to use any sort of heat, make sure you use the glue afterwards, not before. So now what I would do is put a little blob of clear nail varnish or super glue or a fray prevention product just on that little knot to make sure that it doesn't come undone. And then you can repeat the process for the other cords so that you have a jolly little tassel like that. So that is how you make the toggle, toggle clasp ending. And I'm sure you'll agree that's probably one of the easiest endings that you'll ever see on Kumihimo. So don't forget, this is where it came from, and this book is full of other fabulous ideas. It's small so that it'll fit in your craft book, but it's been very carefully written to be super concise and full of everything you need. So I hope you'll enjoy that. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel, and so then you'll be notified of when I've got new videos to show you. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.